resources, blockchain technology, whatever else you want to send our way, we'll take. We have a new secretary I want to recognize real quick, Miss Libby Miles. Thank you, Libby, for keeping us in order. And with that, I will have you call roll.
Representative Campbell? Here. Representative Connolly?
Here.
Representative Harshman?
Here.
Representative Jarvis?
Here.
Representative Provenza?
Here.
Representative Storer?
Here.
Representative Thayer?
Here.
Representative Worf?
Here.
Chairman Byron?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a script I'm not going to go through. I take it from my former chair, Representative Newsom. It's be nice or leave. So I'm glad we got that covered. And with that, we have two bills to hear today. House Bill 15 and House Bill 17. And to present House Bill 15 is Minority Floor Leader Yin. Please.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I am Representative Yin from House District 16. I am here to present to you, it is on, House Bill 15, which is Right to Repair Digital Electronic Equipment. So this bill was one of the interim topics for the Select Committee on Blockchain, Financial Technology, and Digital Technology. As one of their topics, this bill came through kind of in a broader form at the beginning where it could have possibly covered many things and kind of got whittled down into just specifically aimed at digital electronic equipment. So for those that were around, and I think it's only Representative Harshman that were around when Representative Hans Hunt was here, we did have a right to repair bill that was specific to farm equipment. That ended up spurring the farm equipment manufacturers with the farm bureaus to come up with a way to make sure that those ag folks had access to the ability to repair their own farm equipment. So when it comes to digital electronic equipment, so we're talking about consumer equipment that has electronics in it, not farm implements, not cars. We're talking about when I buy something from the store, whether I'm a personal consumer or I'm a small business buying computers, that I should have the ability to repair those items that I purchase, or that an independent repair provider also has that ability. So not only are we providing consumer protection over ownership of the property that you're purchasing, but also allowing small businesses to thrive and be independent repair providers. So the bill, broadly speaking, basically says the ability to repair a device should be something that a property owner has the ability to do for their own devices, and that a manufacturer is limited to essentially neutering a device if a user needs it repaired. And with that, I'll just go through the bill page by page. We also will likely have on Zoom Kyle Wiens. So he runs a repair tools business that's specific to digital electronic equipment, and is also a member of what's called the Right to Repair Coalition that works on pushing the right to repair across the United States. So going through the bill, we have definitions. So we're talking about an authorized repair provider. So this is what manufacturers have as their third-party authorized repair providers. So they have the ability to license with these authorized quote-unquote providers and give them information that they don't give to owners, that they don't necessarily give to independent repair providers. And what we're saying with these definitions is we're defining what original equipment manufacturer can give to those authorized repair providers is also similar to what under fair and reasonable terms, which is on page 4, we would allow for both owners and independent repair providers to access as well. So this prevents a manufacturer from essentially firewalling access to repair tools to only people they quote unquote license rather than people who own specific digital electronic equipment. And so the fair and reasonable terms, they basically define what's considered fair and reasonable. We're talking about preventing extortion when it comes to repair fees, as opposed to something that they do through an authorized repair provider. We defined on page 6 what an independent repair provider is, what the original equipment manufacturer is. Then we go into owner parts. Parts pairing is a specific term used by manufacturers. So when you buy a computer, for example, the computer and the manufacturer can know what specific parts, because they have unique identifiers inside of that computer, and they can say, oh, you can't use a third-party part. You can only use the specific parts that we will allow you to pair with it. So it's another way that manufacturers use to firewall, allowing people to repair their own devices. And then we go into page 8, 40, 12, 802, right to repair digital electronic equipment. And this is defining what is covered. And so attempting to define it as only new products, so we don't surprise manufacturers with having to provide the right to repair for existing products that have been sold. So we set a timeline of, now you know everything that you sell after this moment is going to have to be accessible to have those tools to repair those devices. I know there are some folks who are probably going to propose amendments for the first time and first sold, because it basically says the equipment has to be manufactured for and first sold or used in the state. So there could be some misinterpretation of whether if an Apple computer or any other computer is not manufactured in the state, is that covered? The intent here is that if it's first sold and used in the state, and not necessarily manufactured in the state. So if there's some language to try to divide that out, I think that would be important. And that happens in a couple places. We talk about not having the parts pairing, so you can't restrict someone from using third-party parts. We talk on page 9 about not creating false or misleading or deceptive alerts or warnings, or charging additional fees or increases in prices for future repairs. And so this basically outlines all of what is generally considered the right to repair, and then makes it specific again for digital electronic equipment. On page 10, we go into what right to repair is not. So we want to make sure that manufacturers aren't required to divulge trade secrets. They're not required to contradict actual contracts between authorized repair providers and the manufacturers. It's not meant to introduce liability for the manufacturer. So for example, I want to repair my computer. I'm accepting the liability of doing that because I have a warranty. If I go through an authorized provider from the company, that warranty is null and void, and the manufacturer is allowed to make it null and void with that 11 to 20 language on page 11. So there's the manufacturer is not accepting liability by requiring this right to repair. And then we have some language about anti-theft security measures, and then okay, so on page 12, lines 6 to 10. So if I'm a manufacturer and I don't have, I'm not licensing stuff for an authorized service provider anymore, I no longer have to, I'm not required to make things available for the owners and the independent service providers anymore, right? So what we're trying to say here is that the owners and these independent businesses should be able to just access the same kind of documents and repair tools that authorized providers have. So when authorized providers don't have that anymore, independent repair providers will no longer have access to that anymore. And then we're talking about doesn't count for motor vehicles, doesn't account for things that have never been through retail sale to a consumer, right? So if I'm leasing something or lending something, it's not a retail sale, so I'm not required to have these because we're not talking about ownership. we exempt medical devices, HVAC, because HVAC has to deal with dangerous gases and all of that kind of stuff. So there are secondary externalities if you allowed people to have that kind of liability on their own. And electrical energy. We do have this thing exempting a video game console. I kind of would like to strike that. You guys can take that on your own. Video game consoles also a big lobby, and so the narrower the bill, I think the less resistance there is when it comes to every industry coming forward.
Committee, that's page 13, line 16.
Correct. Yeah, and then we go to industrial equipment as well on page 14. And some of this, again, because these are exemptions that have already been fought over in other states, you have like electric toothbrushes. If you want to get electric toothbrushes, lobbyists here, maybe you strike that. Again, up to you guys. Off-road vehicles, power tools, and then yeah, and then we call it a deceptive trade practice if you abridge someone's right to repair. Yeah, and with that, I will be happy to take any questions. And I'm sure you will get a better presentation as well from the coalition folks.
Thank you, Representative Yin. Committee, any questions? Representative Yin? Questions? Okay. Representative Provenza, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Yin, thank you for your presentation. How scary were the lobbyists? Did they come to your committee at Blockchain about the electric toothbrushes and the video games? I mean, I'm not scared of anything like that, but I'm just curious if that was like a big fight. that
No,
we're
it
looking
wasn't a
at.
big fight. I mean, the biggest things that we had to have conversations about was whether or not we deal with farm equipment. And then we had a lot of discussion about security devices from other industry.
Thank you. The question, committee, any other questions of the representative?
Real
Yes.
quick. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just, Representative Yin, was this a management council study topic that?
Yes,
was-
it
was
is on the
assigned.
list that the committee submitted to management council and was approved by management.
Was not a rogue?
It was not a, it was
thank you.
not a rogue interim topic.
Thank you, Representative Harshman. Thank you, Representative Yin, for that clarity. All right, please stay close if you can. I know you're busy, but it'd be great. Just for everyone in the room, I'm going to get to Representative Singh in a moment if you'd like to speak, and then we're going to go everyone in favor of the bill. So if you're in favor of the bill, come fill the seats in just a moment, and then those opposed will be a little bit later. As we know, we're back up there in about 45 minutes, so I will be holding a timer to be determined on how that will go. But Representative Singh, if you want, please come speak to the bill, and then we'll get going.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Travel, Recreation, and Wildlife Committee. I was on this committee last term in the 67th legislature, and so it's the first time I've interacted with you guys. Good to see you. So for the right to repair bill, the sentiment of this is if you need permission to operate your own property, do you actually own your property? And I know that's going to be broadly something that we talk about throughout the session as it pertains to property taxes, but I digress. It's a concept. Do you own your own property if you need permission to use it? And should there be barriers to being able to access the things that you've already paid for? And so I don't think it's wrong for industries to advocate for their products and how things work. That's their right just as much as anybody else. And we're all in this to work together on how to make the best policy. But there is something to be said about how much do we own our things? Should you require a prescription service to put ink into your printer? If you purchase a camera, should you be blocked by a program from being able to operate that camera? These are questions that we have with the nature of services as they're changing, as a lot of the things that we have, they're operating on a subscription service. So a lot of folks, when you have movies that you want to watch, you no longer have the physical disc that you own. You're subscribing to a service to be able to watch a film or listen to music or advocate for your own programming on agricultural equipment. So it's a dicey topic, and there are a lot of opinions, but I think this is something worth fighting for the people of Wyoming to be more autonomous as individuals. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. Committee, any questions of the good representative? Representative Storr, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Singh, for being here. I'm just, because I don't know the history of this very well, I'm just curious how to understand the exemptions to the bill that are found in Section E and how those came about and what the theory is behind those.
Please, Representative Singh, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Representative Storer. This particular item on the agenda took more time than some of the other items that we had. There was a lot of input. And so as we moved towards building consensus as a committee, we let more folks advocate for themselves and put things on the exemption list with a complete understanding that we're presenting this to the legislature, and as a blockchain bill, it'll go through an entire different vetting of committee through a committee meeting. And so we just present it to you, and maybe it could be significantly simpler. Maybe we whittle down that exemption list, but that's really at the discernment of you folks. So
Thank you, Representative Singh. Committee, any other questions of Representative Singh? Representative Worf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not being familiar with blockchain, one of the things that I guess that pops into my head is I know there are people out there that have malicious intentions that I want to make sure that we don't do something that creates a backdoor. And I guess I really feel like I'm way out on the limb, but I guess that's what I'm going to ask you is, are there protections in here for proprietary type stuff like blockchain? Because to me, I understand you need to repair some stuff, but it would also appear to me that you're kind of telling them that they got to give you access to things that they may. I think about the Apple phone. I remember when they were trying to get access to a phone that belonged to terrorists, that and Apple refused to grant them the codes to be able to get into a locked phone. And I guess that's the thing I worry about. I don't know enough about this to know whether I'm dangling, out over the edge or if it's protected. Do you have any idea about that?
Representative Singh, please.
thank you, Mr. Chairman, Representative Worf. That's a great point, and to emphasize the seriousness of what exactly we're talking about. There are the way I've thought about it is that there are different types of services that are available, and say, for example, you had a particular service where you wanted that security, different security layers and levels of authentication. And so that would be something that you contractually have agreed to with whatever other entity. And so I definitely think there needs to be nuance with that. But you shouldn't be at the same time under the name or through the imagery that this is a security protocol. You shouldn't be able to not access to your own device. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. So if you let's say jailbreak yourself out of your phone. Is it right for you to not be able to access your own product after the fact that you paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this thing? I mean, in the Judiciary Committee, we were talking about making it a felony for something over that's not even half of the value for some of the phones that are out there right now. So, yeah, that is a nuance to this conversation, and so there's nothing wrong in acknowledging that.
Thank you, Representative Singh. You want to add to that, Representative Yin?
Mr. Chairman, yes. So on page 11, the bottom of page 11, Romanet 4. So Romanet 4 is part of nothing in this section shall be construed to require a manufacturer to make available documentation, software parts, tools, or other devices that would disable or override without an owner's authorization anti-theft security measures that the owner set for a digital. So if you have a lock on your phone, this does not grant the right for releasing the ability to unlock someone else's phone. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
that's what that idea is for.
Appreciate that. Committee, any other questions of? Yeah, follow up, Representative Wharf. Yin, you might want to stay
Representative
close.
Yin, I guess it's bigger than just that. I use that as an example. And mainly, I'm exposing my ignorance here. I'm not the guy to tell you about blockchain. And so that's what I'm asking, just because the title of this bill talks about blockchain. And I guess that's what I'm more worried about is this setting it up to where the actual blockchain methodology could be compromised?
Representative Yin.
So, Mr. Chairman, no. So it just came out of the blockchain committee. And so the blockchain committee also covers digital technology. And so this bill has nothing to do with blockchain. It's more about hardware that you own, which is controlled by software that a manufacturer develops. And that software, the manufacturer shouldn't be allowed to prevent the owner through software to prevent them from working with their own device.
Thank you, Representative Yin. All right, committee, any other questions before we go to testimony here? Seeing none, thank you. Both stay close. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public testimony. Those that are here to share testimony in support of the bill, please come on up to the chairs. And for those online, we will get to online testimony after we do in-person testimony. So hang tight with us. We will get to you today because TRW does that. Please don't forget to introduce yourselves. Tell us who you're representing, where you're from, and let's go from my right to my left, your left to your right. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, you're starting with a tough one. Chairman Byron, members of the committee, Era Arano, Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. We're a small ag organization, we're an ag organization that represents small farmers and ranchers across the tri-state area of Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. And I'm speaking specifically for our Wyoming policy as we set policy by state. We spoke on this during the interim. We are part of that agricultural question. First and foremost, we support the right to repair in general. Secondly, we'd really like that to be there for agriculture as well. Just last week, the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin noted that common sense is following the law as it is written, and this is what the Trump EPA is committed to doing. By protecting every American's right to repair, we're not just fixing devices, we're securing a stronger and more independent future for our country. In that same press release, Small Business Administration Administrator Kelly Loeffler stated the EPA's guidance affirming the right to repair will save our agricultural communities thousands of dollars by eliminating corporate middlemen and empowering farmers to fix their own equipment. In Wyoming, specifically, I apologize, the latest numbers I have are from 2023. It was estimated that producers lost over 14,900 million due to equipment downtime and nearly 6 million in labor costs for a total of almost 23 million due to the burdens of not having right to repair. I don't know if you've been reading the news recently. Our agricultural margins are pretty slim. Farmers and ranchers are a key part of our state heritage, key to our rural way of life, and as this committee knows well, key to habitat important for wildlife. In Wyoming, the problem's amplified by distance, few dealers, and downtime It could be days to even weeks, and we don't have time flexibility because weather really impacts our crops, harvest times, and really our bottom lines. Right to repair is not about selling trade secrets or letting in security vulnerabilities or allowing unsafe tinkering. They're protections, as you've heard in this bill. You also may hear in a little while about voluntary agreements or MOUs between manufacturers and membership groups. These aren't enforceable rights, and they're often written in ways that leave many people out. We need a law that guarantees repair access and fair terms for everybody. It's been shown that repair codes available under the MOU with specific organizations don't fully allow independent repair providers to complete all of the fixes on their own. To this end, I suggest the following amendments, and you have a handout in front of you with the title HB 15 Amendments. The first two, and that is
Yep, we have that in our packet. And Era, I will just mention to you that we do want to keep it tight. I think there's
Great.
going to be a lot of testimony.
This is my last thing.
Perfect,
I will
thank
just
you.
generally explain these amendments. The first two are about right to repair in general. They don't specifically include or exclude agriculture. And this is, as Representative Yin referred to earlier, the page and line numbers for that inclusion to make sure that we're have both. This is page 8, line 8, page 8, line 17, and page 9, line 21, striking and replacing that with or. The second set there is general as well, same page numbers, and that's changing the dates. So it's clear that you can have the right to repair for equipment that you already have. And finally, the following two, that would be to include agriculture in this right to repair and help out our small family farmers and our small margins. Thank you. I stand for questions.
Appreciate that. Thank you for that insight. Committee, any questions? Any questions from that testimony committee? Everyone has that, and the secretary has that, I imagine. Okay, great. Yeah, Representative Storr, please. Oh. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, if
please.
thank you, sir. By just getting rid of the references to the date, I recognize it, then it isn't just new only, but I guess I wanted to understand from others the concern over limiting to new only as well, so that you could address that.
I can't speak to the concerns that the committee that drafted had in terms of forward looking or one looking to the past. I know that we would support it for things that are currently owned.
Thank you. Committee, any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony and thank you for those proposed amendments. Please introduce yourself and welcome to House TRW.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Michael Smith, Wyoming State Director for NFIB, the National Federation of Independent Business. NFIB is the largest advocacy organization for small business in the state, with members operating across all industries and communities in Wyoming. On behalf of NFIB, I'm here in support of House Bill 15, Right to Repair Digital Electronic Equipment. We advocate to protect our members' right to own, operate, and grow their small business without interference. This bill provides small businesses from family farms to small manufacturers to mom and pop repair shops the ability to do that by providing access and the opportunity to exercise their choice on where to repair digital electronics. And in rural communities throughout the state, where options on where access to repair electronics may be even more limited, Right to Repair is critical to provide options to have these devices promptly repaired with limited interruption to their livelihoods. More access and choice is a good thing. This legislation will increase repair market competition and give control of devices and equipment to the people who purchase them. Thank you for allowing me to testify today and urge your support of House Bill 15.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for being with us today. Committee, any questions of Mr. Smith? Really appreciate it. Thank you. 1 minute. That's great. I am starting a timer up here because I think we are going to get tight on time. So please introduce yourself, a neighbor of mine, right down the road. Remind us of your name and welcome to House TRW.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Winnie, Sublette County. I'm here to talk very briefly on the right to repair, which I think is fundamental to the United States, to an individual family perspective. I have a 1992 family Suburban that I bought in 1992 new. It went 30 years and 600,000 miles with me doing probably over 95% of the work on it. I was on a first name basis with my local Napa store. But I see you as struggling with a transition from a hardware world. You go down to Napa, you pick up a starter motor, you pick up an alternator, whatever, to a software world, which is, okay, how do you protect a proprietary interest, which sometimes attaches to software? And how do you protect that at the same time protecting the right to repair? I think it's fundamental to this country. I think families can make a big difference. Keeping that Suburban going for those 30 years helped me get 3 boys through UW. And so families make a difference in this discussion too, subject to your questions. Thank you.
Mr. Winnie, thank you for your testimony. Committee, any questions of Mr. Winnie's testimony? Any questions, committee? Right, thank you. 3, appreciate it. Anyone else in favor? And just to let LSO know, we have 1 online in support, and I will allow that person before we go to opposition. Kind of different how I usually do it because there's only 1. We'll give them, it'll be Kyle Weiss, and that'll be after we do in person. Please introduce yourself, friendly face, and welcome to House TRW.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brett Moline, Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation, sitting, I don't know if I want to use the word in favor of this bill, but definitely neutral as the bill stands now. With agricultural equipment being not included in this right to repair, my organization is neutral on the bill. Should it add in the agricultural equipment, we will be opposed to the bill. American Farm Bureau developed MOUs with, I think it's the top 5 or top 7 manufacturers of farm equipment in the United States, with the understanding that if they maintain those MOUs, which they have, that we would not pursue right to repair. In talking with independent businessmen across the state of Wyoming, I have had no complaints. Not all of them have utilized to be able to get the codes. They're working on older equipment that aren't so full of computers, but I have had no complaints about working with the industry to be able to obtain the codes. That has been throughout the state. So with that, Mr. Chairman, okay with the bill as it stands now. Should the agricultural equipment be added into it, Wyoming Farm Bureau will take a stance against it. With that, I would take any questions you or the committee may have.
Mr. Moline, thank you. Vice Chair Harshman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Moline, thanks. And just kind of refresh our memories. It really goes back to that bill that Representative Hunt brought, and then and got these negotiations going and the MOUs. Is that kind of some of the history with it?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Harshman, in a nutshell, yes. At that time, we just couldn't get the codes. We couldn't get the information. And so there was a push nationwide, not just in Wyoming. A lot of them happened about the same time. Well, the American Farm Bureau started negotiating with the manufacturers, and they came to these MOUs. We'll allow access to them as long as you don't keep pushing on right to repair. And again, I've had no complaints about how the MOUs are working. There is that understanding if the MOUs are breaking. I think every state Farm Bureau would probably push to get it into law. At this point, we see no need for it.
Thank you, Representative Harshman. Thank you, Mr. Moline. Any questions, committee? Mr. Moline, seeing none. Appreciate your testimony.
Thank
We'll hop over to Zoom quickly, and if he would like to testify, he can go ahead and. We have a new Zoom system this year, so bear with us as we allow Representative Worf's available if you need technology help. Please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and I hope we can hear you. Go ahead.
Chairman, members of the committee, thank you very much. My name is Kyle Weens. I am the CEO of iFixit and the chairman of Repair.org, which leads the Right to Repair Coalition. I grew up in rural Oregon, and I am very familiar with the repair challenges that we have all over the state. iFixit is the largest online repair resource. We helped about 40,000 people across Wyoming learn how to fix everything from iPhones to tractors last year. We are at the forefront of identifying the challenges that people have fixing and maintaining their stuff, and developing solutions to them. I've been involved in the progress that we've made around right to repair as states everywhere from California to Texas has passed right to repair over the last few years. And I'm happy to weigh in on details or any of the discussions that have happened in other states. I thought I would respond to a few of the questions. Representative Storer wanted to understand a little bit more about some of the exemptions behind the bill. I can tell you, like the game console exemption, for example, is driven by game console manufacturers who would like to prevent piracy of their video games. So they are concerned about people using repair tools to be able to copy games from one console to another. That tends to be led by, so in the repair world, we struggle with this. We have, I could show you stacks and stacks of PlayStations and Xboxes that are bricked, and there's no way to fix them because Sony won't make the repair software available. And it seems like it tends to happen that lobbyists kind of metastasize in the things that they ask for. So you have a group of legal professionals who've been tasked with preventing piracy. They don't want any change at all to laws that might impact game consoles, and so they show up in every possible state and they say, well, if people can fix their consoles, they'll pirate games. No, if people can fix their consoles, they will play games, they'll buy more games, and that's generally what we want to be able to do.
Mr. Weens, we're going to go ahead and keep moving here. If you want to wrap it up, and then the committee may have some questions.
No, absolutely. I am available to answer any and all questions, but I just want to say this has been a very good process working with the committee so far. We appreciate the dialogue. Thank you.
Committee. Any questions? Mr. Weens, any questions? Seeing none, we really appreciate that. Now I'm going to go to opposition to the bill. Those in the room that want to speak against the bill, please come on up to the front, introduce yourself, and then we have a few online as well. So also, just so you know, if we don't have a lot that want to speak, we will hop over to Zoom here momentarily. But welcome, former Representative Lindholm. Please introduce yourself for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tyler Lindholm. I'm the State Director for Americans for Prosperity right here in the Cowboy State. And not speaking in opposition, also not speaking in favor, more of a neutral ground, but I did want to flag some very serious issues that exist with the legislation as it's currently written. Maybe these can be handled via an amendment. Happy to help work on those situations. Right off the bat, this has IP and innovation harm attached to the legislation. Mandates sharing proprietary docs, software, tools, even redacted. There's a risk on theft, reverse engineering, and reduced R&D incentives. Government overreach. This is absolutely government overreach. It voids private contracts, enforces, as the legislation says, fair dealings as defined by the state government, not defined by the contract between two private entities. That's a big deal, and we pride ourselves here in the Cowboy State in being very pro-business and open for business. In the same breath, we're going to void those contracts written by business. That's a tough situation. And then the inconsistency in exemptions. That spares vehicles, medical devices, HVAC, solar, and consoles. Why are we burdening some electronics companies and not others? Why is this a free market over here, but this isn't a free market over here? And that's actually a bigger rub, because what we're really talking about in this legislation are these devices, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, you can go to, I suspect even in the mall here in the capital city, you can go and find a repair shop for these devices, whereas you can't find them for other devices. And so it's very inconsistent in that regard, Mr. Chairman. Happy to help work on it. I don't think it needs to be killed outright, but those inconsistencies are an issue. Happy to help.
Committee, any questions of Mr. Lindholm? Seeing none, appreciate it. Good seeing you. Please carry on. Anyone else that wants to come today and be opposed to this bill or is neutral, please come on up and fill the seats. With that, we'll keep moving. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chairman Byron and members of the committee. My name is Jessie Defoe, and I'm here on behalf of ADT today, the Home Security Systems. And so we were hoping to work more on this on the interim. We had visited with committee members, and then the December meeting that was planned did not happen. So we unfortunately couldn't finish that work, but have continued to reach out to those members and would also like to serve as a resource for you. We are very concerned with the way the legislation is right now, knowing that all this information about home securities would be available to everyone. And as a mom myself, knowing that if that security system is actually as secure as we think it is, knowing that we are short on time, I do have an expert online who can answer questions for you or provide that type of expertise that you may have questions about. We would highly encourage an amendment to specifically address the security and life systems that we would see operating in Wyoming. And I would say that there is, when you look at all the other states who have passed this, Texas and others, they have included some type of amendment to allow for these types of devices to be exempt. So
Okay.
happy to answer any questions. I do believe Holly's online if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Folk. Let's go. Any questions of Mr. Foe committee? And no one else wanting to go in person in opposition or just generally, yeah, we can go right. Let LSO get organized here, but I believe it's Holly Borgman. If you're in, please click whatever you have to click to keep getting into the Zoom. Bob Worf can help you. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. And please introduce yourself and welcome virtually to House TRW.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today about this bill. This is something that we as an industry are very concerned with. ADT, we're the largest security company provider in the country. It's primarily a mom and pop style business. Most of the industry is comprised by small businesses, but this is something that we are united behind. As Jesse mentioned, this bill has passed in other states, and in every single state that has enacted a right to repair law, they have exempted security systems, particularly because the ability and the draw to misuse this information is just too dangerous. So it's one thing if you want to repair a cell phone, or I don't know anything about agricultural equipment, but I can see that somebody might want to do that. But we think that if somebody wants to repair an alarm system, we're going to help them. If their ADT system has an issue, we're going to send a technician to them. And I would venture a guess that we lose money every time we send someone out there. But we do it because we want to keep this information close to our vest. If manuals are out there that show how to take apart an alarm system, how to reprogram an alarm system, how to remove it from its power source or from its cellular communicator, not only does that affect that person whose system has been worked on, but it impacts everyone who has an ADT system. And when you think about driving through a neighborhood and you picture all the signs in front yards advertising that they have an alarm system, and it usually has the brand of the alarm system on the sign, it's basically them putting on a menu like, these are all of the systems that are out there. And if you want to go into someone's house, find the alarm system, and it's usually not hard to find because it's right by the front door, pull it off, remove the communicator. The next thing you know, it jeopardizes not just that person, but anyone who has an alarm system. Now, someone earlier pointed out there's a provision on page 11, beginning with line 22 in section 4, that would require the it says that nothing in the legislation requires a company to make available information that would disable or override anti-theft security measures set by the owner. But the bill does not speak to anti-theft security features that are set by the manufacturer or the retailer, or devices that in and of themselves are anti-theft security measures. Security systems and connected security equipment should be added to the list of exemptions just to keep everyone safe. I think this is something that is a common sense exemption, and I'm proud to say that this is something that has been agreed upon in New York, in California, in Oregon, and in every other state that has enacted this. But I'm happy to discuss ADT, how we've approached the issue, the industry, or any questions that you might have about security equipment.
Thank you, Ms. Borgman. Appreciate that, committee. Any questions of Ms. Borgman before we let her out? Not seeing any. We're going to keep moving. Committee, it is 1:46, and we have quite a lift this afternoon when we wander upstairs. So we're going to keep moving here. I'm going to get a little tighter on time if we want to go ahead and let people in whatever order you so choose. And go ahead and remember to unmute yourself and introduce yourself for the committee, those that are zooming in.
Mr. Chairman, Dustin Brighton has been invited into the room.
Dustin, if Mr. Brighton, if you'd like to testify, please come on into the room and unmute yourself. If not, we can move to the next one.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'm here.
Welcome. Thank you. I'm going to, we got some work to do upstairs, so I'm going to start the timer, get a little tighter on time. You got about a minute if that's all right with you. And if it's not, it will be. So go ahead.
Fair enough.
Go ahead and give me your testimony. I look forward to it, and go ahead and begin.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Dustin Brighton, and I represent the Repair Done Right Coalition. Thank you for allowing me to be here today remotely. The Repair Done Right Coalition consists of companies, organizations, and people who care deeply about ensuring that innovative products are repaired and maintained in a safe, private, and authorized manner. The coalition is opposed to the current bill draft, which would mandate original equipment manufacturers digital electronic equipment to make tools, parts, and documentation available to third-party repair providers. This bill, if to become law, could lead to both physical safety risks and threats to the security and privacy of the people of Wyoming. Just really quickly, a 2021 study done by researchers at the University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada, found that personal data from computers was accessed at least 50% of the time when taken to third-party repair shops. Concerningly, in some cases, the customer's data was not only accessed, but copied onto other devices. There's also a 2024 white paper done by UL Solutions found that 88% of aftermarket battery brands fail to meet regional safety standards. So obviously this is an issue too. Manufacturers should be able to ensure that their products are repaired by professionals whom they trust and whom they know will go about the repair with safety and security as a top priority. In addition, the inclusion of the parts pairing language.
Mr. Brighton, I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, we're creeping on over a minute and a half, and we want to get to a few others. I really appreciate your testimony, and thank you for
thank you.
sitting in. And if you ever make it to the capital city, we'd love to see you in person.
Would love to be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Before you zoom out, committee, any questions of the testimony? Once again, thank you. Let's go to the next Zoom participant.
Mr. Chairman, we have Katie Riley.
Ms. Riley, please introduce yourself and welcome to House TRW.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Chairman and members of the committee, my name is Katie Riley and I represent the Consumer Technology Association. We go by the acronym CTA. We're the trade association that represents the U.S. consumer technology industry. Our members include manufacturers of devices subject to the provisions of HB 15 on the right to repair digital electronic equipment. Think consumer tech products like cell phones, tablets, laptops, televisions, etc. We respectfully oppose HB 15 as written. The concerns I'm going to mention today were also expressed back when the bill was being developed and in draft form before the Select Committee back in September, both verbally and in writing. A lot of it is centered around the difference in the language in this bill compared to the laws that are on the books in 8 other states that you've already heard about. We have 2 major concerns and a few others. The first major concern is related to security locks. Language in section 40-12-802C is confusing at best. From the language, we're a little unclear on how to interpret it, but we're taking it to mean that a manufacturer might need to provide a security lock bypass to an independent repair provider, which is non-negotiable for industry. That is the right and responsibility of the device owner, not manufacturers. From our perspective, the entire language in this section, sub 802C, should be removed. It doesn't appear in any other state law. Second, we're concerned about the enforcement mechanism. Again, the reference in this section is a little confusing, but we're reading it that the intent is to enable consumers the right to file private lawsuits against manufacturers, or in other words, private right of action. Again, no state repair law adopted in the other states has allowed for private right of action. We support limited enforcement mechanisms to be given solely to the Wyoming Attorney General in line with those laws on the books in other states. We have a few other concerns. They're referenced in our written testimony, but we encourage Wyoming not to move forward with HB 15 as written. If Wyoming does move forward, CTA, we've developed model repair legislation in conjunction with another trade association, TechNet. We're not anti-repair, but there need to be appropriate guardrails to protect both consumers and manufacturers. So thank you for the opportunity to testify. Happy to take any questions.
Ms. Riley, thank you. Any questions, committee? Committee, just to let you know, I'm going to go ahead and get through these next few. Those on Zoom, we are going to be tight on time, so please share your concise comments. And then we are going to close public comment, and we are going to lay this back or continue this bill on Thursday upon noon adjournment, just so everyone in the room is aware. If we are going to need to work this bill if the committee so chooses. So with that, we'll go to the next Zoom participant. Please go ahead and let us know who they may be. When you get in the room, please introduce yourself and tell us who you're representing.
Mr. Chairman, this is our last Zoom participant. It's Mark Orada.
Mr. Orada. Wonder if I got that right. Probably not. Please.
You do have it right. I'm just seeing. I apologize. I thought I had the settings all set to get the camera going, and
Right,
it's
we can
not.
hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So, Mr. Chairman and members, Mark Orada, Director of Government Affairs, National Electric Manufacturers Association. We represent over 300 manufacturers in the electro industry in Wyoming. That's about 1,150 jobs, labor income exceeding 83 million. We have a few issues with the bill that we think we can help with. In section 40.12.802 it refers to manufacturers not being required to divulge a trade secret, but there is no reference to other statutory language in Wyoming that may provide further clarity. NEMA would like to suggest language to prevent indirect disclosure of trade secrets. Things that can happen through firmware, encryption keys, diagnostic tools, etc. It would simply be adding into that section, or provide any means by which trade secrets can be ascertained or indirectly disclosed. We also have a number of companies that manufacture lighting components. And in the current bill, and you've heard this before about other products, these bills are typically aimed at those type of consumer electronic products, but when you just say digital electronic equipment, that can unintentionally bring in lots of other products. There's so much electronics in all kinds of equipment these days, like smart light bulbs and lighting equipment. Even the National Electric Code has language against repairability, saying reconditioned luminaires, lamps, holders, ballast, LED drivers shall not be permitted. And we would suggest this could easily be remedied by simply inserting light bulbs, lighting equipment, and systems in section 40.12.802E4. And then I guess the last thing that I would like to comment on is that under the repair provisions of this legislation, and you've heard about this before, going to independent repair providers, there's really no language in here that would provide the same kind of training and assurances that you get by using an OEM's repair provider. And, as a former legislator, look, I get the challenges of unintended consequences, so we thank you for your time. And we absolutely would like to work with you to continue to, as this bill continues to progress. So hopefully I did all right with time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Orada. Committee, any questions of the testimony? Any questions, committee? Hearing none. Thank you. Oh, there you are. Thank you.
Here
Appreciate
I am.
it.
Here I am.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
See no other public testimony in the room. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Just out of respect for time and what we have going on upstairs, we're going to go ahead and committee lay this back to Thursday. Public comment is closed, and we will have a discussion on Thursday upon noon adjournment. We will also on Thursday be hearing, obviously, continuation of 15. We'll get to 17, and then we will be hearing corner crossing on Thursday. So committee, thank you for your work. Appreciate it. With that, we are adjourned, and we'll see you upstairs.